A24's next play here, Maxxxine, is hitting theaters this weekend, and I'm here to tell you if it's good, if it's bad, or if it's just a great time.
The past ain't finished with you. It's gonna keep knocking at your door.
Tragically, another victim of the Night Stalker.
If I knew 3 people who were murdered in 3 days, I'd be pretty scared. What are you hiding, Maxxxine?
If I tell you something, we've got confidentiality.
What'd you do?
Maxxine's kind of the third movie of a trilogy that is not in sequential order. X was the first movie that came out where Maxxxine was the leading lady in, had a great cast, including Jenna Ortega. We then got kind of a prequel movie to one of the antagonists of X with Pearl, and now we're following up with Maxxine's character a few years after that tragic incident as she's trying to make herself a star in Hollywood. This movie by A24, I think, has a lot of highs and maybe some questionable, third act plots, but without spoiling much, let's talk about this over here so far. But if you like these type of reviews, like and subscribe. And yeah, Maxxxine kind of has an interesting feeling for me too, personally, because about a year or so ago, I was able with my mom to visit, LA for the first time, and we went to Universal Studios Hollywood, and we did the Universal tour. Actually, we spent a little bit and did the VIP tour, and we got to see this film kind of being filmed. And it's just an interesting world seeing that Universal Studio lot work out there, and being able to pick that up where it was like when we were touring Universal Studios, the lot tour, and where it was in Maxxxine. And for me, I remember them filming the scene with her and Elizabeth Debicki in a golf cart. And that's all you need to know about that scene and Elizabeth Debicki's character, because a lot of Maxxxine I'm going to keep under wraps, because with any good horror movie, any good slasher movie, spoilers are not okay to put out there. What I will say is the cast of Maxxxine is loaded. People like Kevin Bacon, Giancarlo Esposito, Maya Goth, Elizabeth Debicki. This cast, I feel, even though it's not that large in size, is definitely one that is working well throughout, and I just really think A24 knows how to bring their big game. And for the first 2/3 of Maxxxine, this was a near perfect movie, even for a slasher sense. You got that really great 80s Hollywood vibe mixed in with those serial killer vibes, whether it be Son of Sam and other individuals during, that time period, and it tying into, Maxxine's story and things that happen in X. I do think watching X is probably something you should watch before you go into this movie, because there are flashbacks, and it's a very important, PTSD type feeling for Maxxine's character, what happened during that movie. But it isn't that necessary per se, but Maya Goth delivers an excellent performance here as Maxxxine again. She's witty, she's charismatic, she's a lot of self-belief. There's a lot of just hardcore, I'm not going to let the world swallow me, I'm better than that. And there's some great action parts in there throughout. On top of that, I think Kevin Bacon gives another great performance without spoiling his character too much. I liked Kevin Bacon a lot in this movie. And then, Giancarlo Esposito comes in, Elizabeth Debicki. They all deliver really solid roles in Maxxxine. And if you're somebody who has liked Pearl, who has liked X, I think you're going to enjoy Maxxxine. Now, a few different things to say out front is this is a very adult type movie. Maxxxine and X being a porn star, and that's very much where she's trying to come out of as she's trying to become a Hollywood star. So you'll get some nudity scenes, you'll get some scenes that, have sexual, intercourse or influence in them, but compared to X, this is nothing like that. But the things that worked best for Maxxxine for me are definitely the score in the first third and 2/3 of the movie, the camera work throughout. It got that very great vintage 80s feel, while also still having, I think, modern cinematography and modern filmography with it. It definitely calls back to horror in that generation and horror and even before that generation, whether that's things with the studio lot or just callbacks that we see in other horror movies. And I think delivers just a really fundamental good story for Maxxxine and outrunning her past. My issue with this movie, if I have an issue, is going to be for the third act. It didn't. I think the third act was the weakest. The payoffs were kind of the weakness in that area. I think in some ways the movie became kind of predictable. But that's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody looking to go. But yeah, Maxxxine. I actually really enjoyed that this weekend, and I'm going to give it a solid platinum. The acting in it is great throughout. The set design, the score, the cinematography, I think worked really well. I think the editing was really well done. It felt like kind of 80s, Hollywood, and I love the acting. And Maya Goth once again nails a role. This is definitely more thriller than horror, but you get your kind of horror elements in there. And yeah, are you looking forward to Maxxxine? Put that in the comments down below. And go and see it this weekend. Tell me when you come back how much you liked it and stuff. Was I right about the third act? Was I wrong about the third act? A little bit shorter video here because I don't want to spoil anything about this movie because I did really enjoy it. It is one that would be great to see in theaters, especially the crowd. This was an early screening for me tonight. And pretty much a full theater here. And you got laughs, you got kind of cheers, you got kind of, gasps. So I definitely think this is a movie you want to see in theater with a lot of people. But until next time, I will see you later. I wish you all a happy 4th of July. And yeah, catch me later this week with Despicable Me 4 review, as well as my normal TV show reviews. But until then, adios.